Unit 6, Gateway. Considerable work by cultural psychologists and anthropologists has shown that there are indeed large and sometimes surprising differences in the words and concepts that different cultures have for describing emotions, as well as in the social circumstances that draw out the expression of particular emotions. However, those data do not actually show that different cultures have different emotions. If we think of emotions as central, neurally implemented states. As for, say, color vision, they just say that, despite the same internal processing architecture, how we interpret, categorize, and name emotions varies according to culture, and that we learn in a particular culture the social context in which it is appropriate to express emotions. However, the emotional states themselves are likely to be quite invariant across cultures. In a sense, we can think of a basic, culturally universal emotion set that is shaped by evolution and implemented in the brain. But the links between such emotional states and stimuli, behavior, and other cognitive states are plastic and can be modified by learning in a specific cultural context. Exercise 1. Nobody has to teach a child to demand fair treatment. Children protest unfairness vigorously, and as soon as they can communicate. Nobody has to teach us to admire a person who sacrifices for a group. The admiration for duty is universal. Nobody has to teach us to disdain someone who betrays a friend or is disloyal to a family or tribe. Nobody has to teach a child the difference between rules that are moral, don't hit, and rules that are not, don't chew gum in school. These preferences also emerge from somewhere deep inside us. Just as we have a natural suite of emotions to help us love and be loved, so too we have a natural suite of moral emotions to make us disapprove of people who violate social commitments and approve of people who reinforce them. There is no society on earth where people are praised for running away in battle. Exercise 2. In a recent presidential election, one of our local comedians compiled a list of all the recommendations being made by both the Democratic and Republican candidates for the presidency. He then switched them and asked committed Democratic and Republican supporters about them. Democratic voters were told their candidate thought the American military needed to be strengthened, the national borders more tightly controlled, and voter identification efforts strengthened. As for those committed to the Republican candidate, he questioned them about their support of their candidate's supposed statements, underscoring the need to expand national health care, create a more equitable tax system, and increase the minimum wage. In every case, the supporters did not question the veracity of the list. Instead, they began justifying their candidates' positions. It was as if it did not matter what the facts were. Once they had made up their minds who they were voting for, their job was to support him, not question him. Exercise 3. You may believe that all forms of negative thinking are unnecessary, extreme, and irrational. Nothing could be further from the truth. Quite often, you might experience unpleasant, tragic, and upsetting events in your life that you believe to be negative. As a result of these beliefs, you experience unpleasant emotions. If you're perceiving a situation accurately, your distressing emotions will serve a useful function for you. For example, if a close friend has died and you are extremely sad because you miss your close relationship, crying, grieving, and sadness will allow you to work through the difficult situation and incorporate it into your experience so that you can move on with your life. Only when the thoughts take on an unrealistically negative and distorted quality, e.g., my life is over because my friend is gone, the same fate will soon befall me, I have nothing left to look forward to in my life, is it likely that you will experience emotions and behavioral reactions that are dysfunctional and self-defeating. Exercise 4. Evolution theory is being challenged. Darwin saw evolution as a gradual process of natural selection and survival of the fittest as the most likely phenomenon. Now, evolutionists such as paleontologists Niles Eldredge and Stephen Jay Gould argue that evolution is characterized by long periods of relative stability that are punctuated by sudden changes, followed by more stability, followed by more changes, and so on. One hypothesis on why this occurs is that changes in environment cause a species to diversify and specialize into several new niches, creating new lineages. In Gould's theory, a species will be unchanged for thousands or hundreds of thousands of years, and then suddenly something will happen that will change it, perhaps gene splicing, or even wipe it out. Gould's theory can be thought of as macroevolution, periodic sudden large changes, and the normal concept of gradual evolution can be thought of as microevolution, a continuous, almost unnoticeable succession of small changes.